Yo, what's wrong? Dude, I was thinking how unfair it is that only the richest people in the world get to have houses. You know, people like you and me, we're just gonna be stuck with an apartment for the rest of our lives. It's unfair, man. Yeah, I mean, the government should really be helping, and what government? Dude, I was talking about Final Fantasy XIV. I've given up on real housing a long time ago. One of the most anticipated events of patch 6.1 was the introduction of new housing in the brand new area of the Firmament. Well, the Firmament's not new. We've been working on it, restoring it for years now, but housing there is new. And despite it being one of the most anticipated events, it didn't exactly go to plan. See, in patch 6.1, they introduced the idea of a lottery system in order to acquire housing. Now, this is actually a huge improvement to how it's usually done. For anyone who's unaware how housing is normally acquired, it's jokingly called housing savage. When a house becomes abandoned, the plot of land actually sets an internal timer for which it actually becomes available to purchase. Now, this timer can be set anywhere between, a couple hours to a full day. What that means is during that period of time, at any moment, it can be available to purchase to the first person who gets there. This means in order to maximize your chance at getting a new plot of land, you have to sit down, clicking on that sign for potentially 24 hours just to have a chance at being the first one to click the sign and become the new owner of the plot of land. So yeah, people go to extreme ends in order to get a chance at housing. There are discords that have housing timers available so that you can maximize your chances of being there at the right time. And there's a ton of players who resort to botting and have their character be programmed to madly click away at the sign. The other way housing has been introduced is like in Shadowbringers patch 5.4, where they just add new wards to, the existing housing areas, and it just becomes first come, first serve. So how could a lottery system go wrong? It should be as simple as just picking a random winner, right? Well, that's not what happened. So the way the lottery works is you would go to the plot of land that you wish to enter the lottery for, and basically a number is assigned to you. So the first person who gets there is assigned the number 1, the second player number 2, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, when it came to actually pick the winner, for some of the plots that were available, the winning number was 0. And so for a lot of these houses that the winning number was 0, no one got the house. And as you can imagine, people were very frustrated. People on the forums were theorizing that Square had forgotten to do, basic programming stuff and allowed 0 to be a pickable number. However, it turns out that isn't actually what happened. Yoshi put out a statement, and quote, they said, "They discovered that while the server responsible for conducting the lottery is functioning as intended, the results are not being properly relayed to the servers responsible for managing housing-related data." So this means that there actually was a real winner in the lottery, it just didn't know how to put the results properly into the game. This is honestly the best possible outcome because people who won the lottery will have won the lottery, and for those people who were unlucky where the number 0 was drawn, well, they're still entered in that lottery, and the data for who actually won in that lottery will still be chosen. So the lottery ended up working in a really roundabout and not a great way, but at least it's not like we rolled back and people had to re-enter the lottery and people lose their new houses and stuff like that. So why are people still mad? Well, for the lottery, they divided up the available wards into 2 categories. One, a category where the ward was only available to free companies or guilds, and the other category was available for individuals. Except the distribution was extremely uneven. In fact, 18 out of the 24 new wards were available only for free companies. And yeah, turns out there are way more individuals who are interested in housing than FCs. In fact, many of the plots of land in the FC-only wards are empty. Now, to defend Square Enix about why they probably divided it up this way was because FCs that have houses have access to a new system called subaquatic voyages in which only FCs with houses can participate in. Except these voyages aren't even a great system anyways, and it's limited to only a couple people within the FC. So I bet you the vast majority of players have never even touched it, considering it's a limited system within another limited system. So yeah, I don't really see how it's possible for anyone to be more excited about access to subaquatic voyages than to get your own personal house which you can decorate to however you want. Now, for players who don't have houses, they have the option of renting an apartment, but that's really not the main issue here. Really, the question is, why did they make so many wards just for FCs? And honestly, the even bigger question is, why is housing even limited in the first place? A guy on Reddit tallied up the total number of bidders on large houses on their server. Out of the 359 bidders, only 36 people could have gotten a large house, meaning only 10% of the interested players ended up getting a house. That's an insanely low amount, and it's clear that the new Ishgard housing is really just a drop in the bucket in terms of actually solving this housing situation for players in Final Fantasy XIV. Square Enix, I play video games to escape the real-world problems that I have, yet you've literally recreated the same problem in the fantasy MMO that I play. Now, I can't pretend to know the technical limitations of the game and what it takes to create personal instance housing for every player in the server, yet it doesn't seem that crazy to ask for, considering so many other MMOs in history and current have instanced housing. I am curious if the new feature Island Sanctuary will be an attempt to solve this problem for Final Fantasy XIV, but they haven't released any new information on this in forever, and it's supposedly supposed to come out in 6.2. Now, call me an optimist, but I really hope that Island Sanctuary addresses the housing issue that exists in Final Fantasy XIV. But on top of that, I hope that they bring in new features, you know, something like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing, where we get to have a personalized area that we get to paint over and create new buildings. And I don't know, like, yeah, again, call me an optimist. But that said, I want Island Sanctuary to completely obliterate the current housing system. Sure, FCs can have their houses, I guess, for subaquatic voyages, but for individuals, everyone should have access to a house that they get to decorate and use for gardening and raise their chocobos on and for hanging out with friends and throwing parties, you know. I think this is just a no-brainer. And also, please, Square Enix, with Island Sanctuary, put a retainer bell and a market board there. That would be awesome. And the last thing on my wish list for Island Sanctuary is I hope that we get to actually be able to access things that are only available in the inn right now, like the glamour dresser and the cutscene player thing. I understand I might be asking for way too much here, but honestly, that's kind of the bare minimum in order to have real housing in Final Fantasy XIV. Anyways, that's it for my video. I'm curious what you guys think about the current housing situation, and if you guys are also frustrated with how Square Enix has handled housing. I would also love to know what things that you guys are looking forward to with Island Sanctuary. It's personally one of the things that I'm looking forward to most in Endwalker. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.